Hey guys, back at it with another break week video. And today we're going to be talking about something important, something that I didn't really get to talk about by myself because I was waiting for Sai, and also other stuff with the chapters had to be discussed. But talking about the Elbaf time dilation theory. So I'm sure you're familiar with this. You probably talked about it on your channel. It ultimately boils down to when the Straw Hats are on or in Elbaf, time moves slower there than it does in the outside world. Now, how fast or slow is it? Still up for debate, but we'll talk about it in this video. So just at first, what do you think about this? Plausible, nonsense, holding water? What do you think?
I think it's very plausible. The real question just becomes how much is time dilated? And also, the one thing that holds me back from believing in it fully is that the Giants haven't told us anything about it. I feel like when we enter this island, I feel like they should be the ones who say, hey, by the way, like, let's worry about the time a little bit, guys. Because, there's a lot of things that could come out of this, a lot of negatives, right? We're looking at the positives, I'm sure we'll talk about it here in a minute, but I feel like if we spend too long on here, like, Louis Arnaud is implying, it might not be for the best.
I agree. And just if this is true, and let me put it out there that I think it very likely could be true. I'm not going to write this off. I mean, I wanted to make this video for a reason. So I do think that there is a good possibility that this is happening. But man, it's going to open a whole can of worms because then you have to like retroactively go through everything and be like, did that line up with that? Did that make sense? The first thing that comes to my mind is like Big Mom when she was a kid on Elbaf. So did she experience like that time dilation? Like, I don't know how long she was there. So. She was there at least 3 days, more than 3 days for like that winter solstice fasting thing. But other than that, I don't know how long she was there. So it's like, was she there so long as to where years were going by on the outside? Because one of the theories is that this could line up with like 3DY2, like Luffy's tattoo about the dates. Like 3 days in Elbaf could be 2 years on the outside world, which is insane if that is true. But then it also goes back to you saying, like, why didn't the Giants talk about that? And that is clearly the big elephant in the room there. But I also think that, like, the way that Oda writes, I wouldn't be surprised if he was just like, oh, yeah, you didn't know that? Like, the Giants just say that. Like, oh, yeah, there is time dilation here. You guys didn't know that?
That's what I was known for.
Yeah.
I could totally see that being the case. Like, oh, everybody who comes here knows this at the very least, but we're just uneducated, which is kind of crazy because with Louis Arnaud and his book Bragman, Nami has read that book before. She's like the one who introduced us to the book back in Little Garden. So it's like, yeah, come on, Nami. If something bad is happening here, she needs to be telling us about this, man. I was about to say, like, 3D2Y is absolutely insane if that's true. I don't believe it. I feel like it's more something like 3 days equals 1 week. Because 2 years, man, like 2 years would destroy the world of One Piece. We would leave 2 years from here, and I promise you, a lot of islands would be gone. A lot of people we know would be dead. Emu's in the process of destroying the world. Like, if we spend 2 years here, hypothetically, the world's going to go down the toilet.
Yeah, that's also what I was thinking, too. Like, if it's like weeks or even months, 3 months or whatever, that's reasonable. But just 2 years, way too much, especially at this time in the story. Speaking of Louis Arnaud, the guy that you just brought up that wrote the or part of the Bragman book. So his inscription at the end of chapter 1132 says, "Do not linger in Elbaf for too long." So, that's what started all of this. Started the whole, oh, is there time dilation there? Is that why we're not supposed to stay there too long? Because time on the outside is going to move too fast. And it also makes me think the possibility that this new silhouetted character with the, I'll just call it a Wano hat, and the implied to be long spiky hair, maybe that could be Louis Arnaud himself. And he's just been chilling on Elbaf this whole time, not aging the way that everyone else has, because that was like 80 years ago, something like that, when that book was made, right? Somewhere around there, 80 to 100 years, something like that.
Yeah, we don't really have a good time frame, but we just know it's from a long time ago, though.
Yeah, so
it's hard to pinpoint.
If that is him, then that would be cool. I think that would be a cool way to wrap everything up. But I don't know who this silhouetted guy is. It could be Shiki because he kind of looks like him. But I would like that little twist of it being Louis Arnault, and then that's how it reveals the whole time dilation thing. But then there has to be like a greater reason for there to be a time dilation thing there, right?
Yeah, and if it's Louis Arnault, then I feel like his message would be it would sound way too ominous in the beginning. Because like, hey, don't linger here for too long, but I will be lingering here for a long time. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of feels weird if it was him, in my opinion. But I feel like it would be a cool introduction. Like, don't linger here for too long because this is my domain. And then he like pops out or something. But yeah, it's a strange one. I'm still very undecided about the silhouetted character. I think Shiki's a great option. I think Scopper's a great option. Louis is not bad either, but I just feel like it almost contradicts his note in a way.
Yeah, and also, why not just say it? Just say time moves slower
right?
here.
He's like beating around the bush, right? Like, dude, just tell us, man. You've been here.
Yeah.
You know what happens. So let us know, man. I'm reading. It's like reading a book, and the book says, hey, if you want to know the ending, find out for yourself. It's like, what do you mean? I'm reading the book for a reason.
Yeah. Now it kind of feels like this isn't the case, and that there isn't like some kind of time dilation thing going on here. I actually would have liked it if it was the opposite. If time moved slower there, so that they could be there for like 2 years, but then only like 2 days.
Oh,
The hyperbolic time chamber, essentially, because then they could train.
Yeah. I think that'd be sick. Yeah, if it worked the opposite way, oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, imagine the Straw Hats leave the island and it's been 2 years in Elbaf, but 2 days outside, or something silly like that. Yeah, I think that'd be really cool. I think that would put the Straw Hats over the edge against most other pirates at that point, because we're already dominating the seas. Like, if the Straw Hats get another time skip with the Giants of Elbaf, oh my god, like, we're gonna leave and people are just gonna be fodder at that point, right?
Yeah. I mean, even if it's not just Luffy, actually. Okay, now I'm doing some writing here. Sorry, audience. It would be nice if Luffy was excluded from that. Luffy and Zoro and maybe even Sanji, they're excluded from this. And it's only the rest of the Straw Hats who get to benefit from this training, so that they are essentially leveled up to the rest of the crew, which they are not right now. There's a huge power discrepancy after Jinbei with the rest of the crew. So I always wanted them to catch up, or at least get comparable enough without it to just be a random butt pull at the end of the arc, like, maybe it's just me.
No, I understand that. I feel like a lot of people want, characters like Usopp and Nami and Chopper and like, Frankie even. A lot of people want them to get stronger, and I'm on that boat as well, because I think they're great characters, and I think they deserve like good fights. And I just can't imagine the people that are going to fight in the final saga, right? Like, we're setting them up like Usopp and Van Augur, for example. That's just the first one that came to my head. Or like, Nami versus a Holy Knight. It's like, okay, like, we know our guys are going to win, right? We always win at the end of the day. But what does that say about the other characters we're beating? Are they weak? Are they strong and we just bridge the gap somehow? Like, I don't know. So I would love a time skip for that reason alone. And I guess another thing that could imply that time moves differently here is Jarl, right? He's the giant who was like, I think 300 years old.
Is he the guy that got shoulder thrown by Big Mom?
I think so. And he's still alive. We heard that he was alive when we were coming into Wano. And it's like, damn, dude, the guy's 408 years old right now. Like, giants should typically only live like till they're 350-ish. Like, this guy survived the times.
See, that's another thing.
Maybe time does move weird.
Yeah, exactly. Because another thing that I was curious about was the giants living so long. And it's like, why did they live so long? Typically, when like a creature or a being gets bigger on Earth, they live shorter. But
yeah,
they're living way longer, 3-4 times as long as humans do. And it's like, why is that? Could be time dilation. And also goes back to Little Garden, because, Dory and Broggy were on Little Garden for like a long time, over 80 years or something like that. I don't know the exact time, 100 years. They were there for a while, right? And the weird thing about Little Garden is, I mean, it's weird, but it's like prehistoric. There's things out of time there, right? Like Nami's sickness that she got. It's like an ancient virus or something that doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Yeah, it's a strange one when you really think about it. Like, maybe if you stay there for too long, like, reality gets warped. But I guess an argument against that would be Oimo and Kashi, because they were with the world government for 50 years, and nothing in his lobby, to our knowledge, got warped like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just weird in general. Like, Elbaf is such a strange place. I've also heard people saying that maybe if you stay here too long in Elbaf, you get bigger. Like, you know, you get gigantified.
Ah.
But, you know, like, because a lot of pirates we've seen thus far are kind of big, you know, minus Shanks. Like, you know, Whitebeard's huge, Blackbeard's kind of big, Big Mom's kind of big. Like, I wonder if Luffy will ever get to their size, which that would be kind of cursed given the way Luffy looks. But, you know, like, whenever we see Luffy bigger, it's because Oda time skipped him up like 40, 50 years, like in an SBS. Like, oh, here's Luffy when he's bigger. And of course, it's like him in some kind of Garp looking era. But yeah. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of fun things with Louis Arnaud here. I kind of wish that Saul tells us about this next chapter because, man, Saul saved the books of O'Hara, and Bragman was one of them. So surely he knows what he's talking about, right?
Normally I would have hope, but after Vegapunk, I don't have. Yeah, I don't have. I just hope that it's not another Vegapunk. That's all I could say about Saul because, you know.
Yeah,
I don't know if I could go through that again.
Yeah, imagine he does that though. He does pull a Vegapunk where he's like, "Hey guys, I know what might have happened, but because it's only a guess, I'm not gonna say it."
Yeah.
Like, no, Vegapunk. Like, I get it, right? As a scientist, you don't want to promote fake news, but brother, I want to. Dude, you got me curious, man.
Yeah.
It's like going into like a massage parlor and not getting a happy ending. Like, I've heard rumors about this. Just give me it.
Yeah. It's like, you know, brush your hand across a couple times. Let me know that it's cool, and, you know, we'll get on with it.
Well, yeah. You get like $100 bill. I leave with a smile. Like, come on, man.
Yeah. Tell me how devil fruits were made. Come on. I'll give you a little extra. Don't tell me it was the dreams of people. Tell me the exact thing. Did their souls go into them?
And then, the Kizaru thing too. Like, I can't really recreate Logia's, but by the way, Kizaru's laser beam. Like, you know, he kind of beat on the bush about the whole Logia replication process, and it's like, wait a minute, Vegapunk really could have just dropped like one panel, and then same with the Kuma thing, right? Oh, Buccaneers, they could all do this, and then he cuts himself off. It's like, okay, you know, I get it. You don't want to say it out loud, sure, but an inner monologue?
Yeah, even in his mind, he is being ambiguous.
Yeah, gotta keep it a mystery, right? Gotta keep us coming back, is what it is.
It works. I'm here. I've been here. I've been here for 20 years.
Yeah, and we're still chugging along.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. Thank you again, Sai, coming along for another crazy theory video. I have his link in the description as usual. Peace out.